Hi everyone, this is Cynthia Gomez again. This is your microeconomics course. I thought I would take a few minutes to just let you know what we are going to be studying in case you are curious. So in microeconomics, we are looking at how to make decisions as individuals and as a business and as organizational leaders. This is different from macroeconomics. Recall that macroeconomics deals with economy-wide phenomena like unemployment and inflation and economic growth. In microeconomics, we're looking at things from a much smaller perspective. We are looking at events. We are looking at how businesses make decisions, how individuals make decisions, and how organizations make decisions. From a market perspective, we need to learn the relationship between the demand for a good or service and revenue generated. So we will be looking more in depth at our demand and supply model and looking behind the layers of what makes up demand and what makes up supply. We're going to learn how businesses use labor and equipment to produce goods and services. We're going to learn about production and costing of goods and services. How do we make things? How do we make products? How do we produce services? How do we account for their costing? We're going to learn how to price a product. And in pricing a product, we learn about how the number of sellers in the market determines how much we can charge for a product. So pricing of our product is going to be tied to how much it costs us to produce and how many other sellers are out in the market, and that's going to help us determine the price of a product. So this course prepares you for managerial economics, which if you're going for your BBA is a requirement. So please try to learn all this information. It will just make your life so much easier as you move forward towards your 4-year degree. Okay, so what are we going to cover? First, we are going to review the basics. So what are the basics? Understanding what our market system is, understanding the production possibilities model and how we use this to demonstrate trade-offs, opportunity cost, marginal benefit. And then we are going to do an in-depth review of the demand and the supply curve. Now, for many of you who already took macroeconomics, this will be repetitive. However, if you feel like you did not get the concepts in macro solidified, this is your opportunity to solidify these. Again, if you move forward with a 4-year degree after completing your associates and you decide to study business administration, it will be assumed that you know these. From this, we are going to go to some new models and concepts. We're going to talk about efficiency and welfare. And when I talk about efficiency, I'm talking about, is the market that we are operating in maximizing the use of all of our available resources? And when I talk about welfare, I'm talking about who in the market benefits, the consumers or the producers. Then we're going to talk about elasticity. Now, elasticity is another layer of the demand curve, principally in our studies. When we talk about elasticity, we're going to talk about if I change the price of a product by 1%, by how much will demand for my product change? So we want to talk about responsiveness of the consumer to changes in the price of our product, for example. Then we will talk about utility, which is another consumer-driven subject. Under utility, we're going to be talking about happiness or satisfaction. How do people evaluate and derive satisfaction or utility, and how does this play into their decision-making or choices? Then we're going to look at production and costs, pricing of a product, market structures, and regulation. So production and cost basically means how we're making the product, how much labor, how much capital we are using, how much does it cost us, how much should we charge for the product. The amount we charge depends upon the market structure, either pure competition, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, or monopoly. And then we look at regulation. So these are the main areas that we will be covering, and they are essential for you to understand. So here are the learning outcomes as identified by your syllabus. You need to understand economic decision making, and of course that includes scarcity, specialization, opportunity cost, marginal cost, and benefit. You need to understand the supply and demand model, inside out, market price and quantity, comparative static analysis, the elasticity concepts, and the concept of producer and consumer surplus. We're going to be talking about concepts of utility maximization. We'll be talking about production concepts and cost concepts. You will need to know how to graph these. We'll talk about market structures. What are their characteristics? How do you price? What the profitability is under each structure. Marginal analysis and graphical analysis. And we'll talk about governmental efforts to address market failure. And we'll talk about trade. So, quite a lot to do this semester. Please stay on task with your assignments. Please see your syllabus for the calendar and due dates. Print out and review syllabus 1 and 2, and see syllabus 2 for your grading scale. Have a great semester.